Were you in Boy Scouts? Did you ever have to try to orient a map? Or do you remember printing off MapQuest directions? Physical maps have been our main method of navigating for thousands of years, until much more recently. The advent of satellite GPS, smartphones, and hiking apps have challenged their need. Has technology killed off printed hiking maps like the dinosaurs? How exactly have our methods of navigation changed? And how helpful are the new hiking apps really? Let's dive into hiking apps. In addition to hiking videos, Greenbelly also makes ready-to-eat backpacking meals. Greenbelly meals are 650 calorie meal bars loaded with nutrition like protein, carbs, fat, sodium, and fiber. Greenbelly meals have been called Rice Krispie treats on steroids and come in 5 flavors using all natural ingredients. Check us out at greenbelly.com. Some of the earliest maps have been seen on cave walls, or carved into things like this elephant tusk from 25,000 BC. Hiking maps, as we know them, came much later, when walking in nature became a popular recreational activity, or hiking. In the 1860s, hiking organizations like the Appalachian Mountain Club and the Sierra Club started to pop up, promoted hiking trips, and helped develop marked trail systems. Alongside the rise of hiking came the need to understand topographical lines and how to orient a map and compass.
When I first started backpacking, GPS kind of just wasn't even part of the equation. The 3 biggest trips I've ever been on was a 4,700 mile, 6-month loop around Alaska and the Yukon. The second one was a 6,875 mile loop around the American West. And the third one was a 7,775 mile traverse of North America. It was topographic map and magnetic compass.
We also used guidebooks, like David Miller's, which is a complete horizontal elevation profile of the entire Appalachian Trail, complete with important markers like water sources, shelters, and campsites.
I hiked the trail and I used a guide. At the time was called Wingfoot. There was also a companion. My book was the next technical progression. I just happened to be the one to make that step to integrate more information. Most people just use the book.
So it was maps, compasses, and guidebooks until much more recently. Before we go any further, let's talk about GPS. In 1983, the US invented the very first global positioning system, or GPS, called Navstar GPS.
The Navstar Global Positioning System will be a worldwide network of satellites transmitting precise, jam-resistant navigational signals.
Other countries have launched their own systems since. We'll focus on Navstar though. By 1995, Navstar had their complete collection or constellation of 27 satellites orbiting Earth. To break down how it actually works, imagine you're trying to find out where you are in the US, and there are 3 satellites that happen to be orbiting above 3 US cities. One above Los Angeles, one above New York, and one above Miami. All of them are emitting a signal with their position and a timestamp at the speed of light. You turn on your smartphone. To receive the signals, it takes 7.51 milliseconds from the LA satellite, 9.15 milliseconds from the New York City satellite, and 6.44 milliseconds from the Miami satellite. Since we know the signal is traveling at the speed of light, we can actually determine exactly how far away you are from the signal. Distance equals speed multiplied by time. Now we know that you're 1,350 miles away from LA, 1,700 miles away from New York City, and 1,200 miles away from Miami. These 3 data points triangulate exactly where you are, in Austin, Texas.
On the road again.
Cool, huh? Alright, back to the story. Despite the new GPS technology being developed, it was not fully available to the public. The US government had degraded the accuracy of the positioning technology for civilian use. It wasn't until May of 2000 when Bill Clinton allowed for its full public use. GPS went from being able to pinpoint your position within 50 to 100 meters to closer to just 2 meters. By the early 2000s, we started seeing car navigation systems like TomTom and Garmin. In 2005, Google Maps was launched. By 2008, iPhone and Android had GPS receivers built into their phones. In other words, phones could now navigate. GPS helped revolutionize many industries. Not only car navigation, but ride sharing, taxis, fitness tracking, weather forecasting, deliveries and logistics, gaming, which brings us to hiking.
Significant change in backcountry navigation has happened in the last 10 years when smartphones became available and really became ubiquitous, and when companies like Gaia and Caltopo launched GPS apps for smartphones.
Let's go over some popular hiking applications and understand some of their capabilities. Gaia GPS. This is one of the first of its kind. A high-quality map on your smartphone that can precisely locate you in the middle of nowhere without cell reception. It lets you discover trails or record your own, and provides detailed topographical maps, waypoints, elevation, and route tracking. AllTrails. AllTrails offers similar features as Gaia. However, it focuses more on community and user-generated hiking routes and helps you discover those trails. For example, if you arrive at a national park and want to find a hike nearby that is less than 10 miles long and has great reviews, and see photos of the route. It tells you where to park and lets you follow along as you hike. Far Out Guides, formerly Gut Hooks. This is another popular app that focuses on specific long-distance trails like the Appalachian Trail or Pacific Crest Trail, and allow you to follow along as you hike, offering detailed notes and comments added by users. There are many others like Caltopo, popular for printing maps, Peak Finder, identifies any peak in front of you by holding your camera up to it, or Spyglass, a highly accurate compass with augmented reality. So now we have all these hiking navigation applications using GPS. How helpful are they though? And are they better than printed maps? These maps have revolutionized the way we navigate in the backcountry. Here's why. Pinpointing. Hiking apps show you where you are on a trail in real time and makes it easy to follow along your trail line. And if you downloaded the maps ahead of time, it can do this without service. No more looking at a map and hoping you're going the right way. Ease. Maps, especially if you're deep in the backcountry, require knowing how to orient the map and read a compass, which is a skill to be learned.
Smartphone apps have definitely lowered the standard for access. So your requisite skill set does not need to be as high because the app will just sort of carry you through a backcountry trip.
Unlimited info. Applications can provide more information. They're not limited to the visual space of a physical map. They can offer layers with seemingly infinite levels of detail, like private versus public land. User-generated content. Users can provide live and up-to-date information. Comments on things like if a water source is dry, if the parking lot tends to fill up early, if the trailhead is closed due to forest fires, or how difficult they felt the trail was.
Being able to read comments, especially on water sources, and just be able to get more up-to-date information is something that, on the ground that you can't get with a paper map.
New additions. Since anyone can add a trail to some of these apps, their database is constantly expanding. Comparing an app to a map is kind of like comparing Wikipedia to a printed encyclopedia. Overall, maps make backcountry navigation easier and more approachable, and their popularity is undeniable. You can see some of these have been downloaded millions of times just on Google Play alone.
We are over the 300,000 users. We've seen a huge growth over even just the past, I think, 3 years. We're somewhere around 98% saturation on the AT and the PCT.
However, despite the clear advantages of hiking apps, paper maps and guidebooks still seem to have their place. Reliable. One of the biggest reasons is reliability. Phone batteries can die, water and weather can damage, and systems can update and glitch. Maps and guidebooks are nearly indestructible. Necessary skill. Many have raised concerns about losing the art of navigation and undervaluing the importance of being aware of your surroundings. The idea that map navigation is a fundamental part of backcountry safety and should be understood. Despite us having calculators, we still value the importance of learning to do math by hand. And despite having computers, we still value the importance of learning how to write. The long trail associations such as the ATC and PCTA still encourage hikers to take a map and compass.
The smartphone apps are so good nowadays that a lot of people don't know how to use anything else, at least with much competence. I would say that navigational skills are extremely important. You need some skills to be out there safely and confidently.
Take these PCT hikers who got stuck in a 3-day snowstorm after their phone got water damaged. Or Geraldine Lerge, who tragically died after getting lost on the AT. Despite having a map and compass, it is believed she didn't know how to use them. Disconnect. There's also a more personal ethos question around technology in the outdoors. Most of us are drawn to the outdoors to be in nature and disconnect from the hustle and bustle of society. So if we can't escape from our phones and technology in the backcountry, where can we?
I still want to hike with the phone, but while I'm on the trail, I'd rather just pull out a piece of paper and have a quick glance.
It seems that both apps and maps still have their place in hiking navigation.
A skilled navigator understands that all of these tools have pros and cons. So there are certain applications that are excellent for a paper topographic map. There are other applications where your GPS is awesome.
We always say, take a paper map with you and then use our app on top of it for some of the things that the paper maps can't do.
Most seem to prefer the ease of apps as their main navigation tool, but value the importance of having a printed map and knowing how to use it as a backup, particularly for more remote backcountry navigation. If you liked this video and want to understand more about what's going on in the hiking world, please subscribe. A big thank you to Andrew Skirka, David Miller, and Far Out Guides for their help making this video.